The Hajj pilgrimage has always been a profound spiritual journey for Muslims worldwide. Yet beneath its religious significance lies a story of adventure and endurance, especially when we consider the African pilgrims who braved incredible hardships to reach Mecca. While much of the focus around Hajj is often on the Middle East or Southeast Asia, the stories of African pilgrims, spanning regions like Mali, Songhai, and the Swahili coast, remain largely untold, and they reveal tales of perseverance, faith, and the spread of knowledge. Picture the medieval period when African Muslims, driven by unwavering devotion, set out on journeys that would challenge them physically and spiritually. In an era before modern transportation, some African pilgrims traveled for months, sometimes years, on foot or camelback across perilous landscapes. Crossing deserts, mountains, and hostile territories, they risked disease, exhaustion, and extreme weather in pursuit of the sacred pilgrimage. Yet, despite these dangers, they persevered, proving the depths of their faith. Consider the pilgrims from Timbuktu, whose journey across the Sahara Desert remains one of the most remarkable feats of resilience. Scholars, traders, and nobles alike undertook this journey, pushing themselves beyond physical limits. The harsh desert terrain and unforgiving climate couldn't dampen their spirits, as they were united in their common goal of reaching Mecca. Some would be gone for over a year, surviving on limited resources, relying on faith alone to guide them. The African pilgrimage wasn't just a spiritual undertaking. It also facilitated the exchange of knowledge. Along their travels, pilgrims would connect with fellow Muslims from across the Islamic world, sharing not just trade goods, but ideas and wisdom. The African pilgrims who returned to their homelands were often enriched with new knowledge about science, philosophy, and religion, thus contributing to the intellectual growth of Africa. These pilgrims were not only journeying to Mecca, they were creating a legacy of resilience, unity, and transformation, one that would echo through the ages. Their stories reveal the strength and perseverance of African Muslims and their crucial role in the broader history of Islam. As we continue our exploration, we will delve into the journey of Mansa Musa, one of the most famous African rulers to undertake the Hajj, and his lasting impact on the Islamic world. One of the most captivating figures in the history of African pilgrims is Mansa Musa, the Emperor of Mali. His pilgrimage to Mecca in the 14th century not only solidified his place in history, but also became a defining moment for Africa's connection to the Islamic world. Known for his wealth, Mansa Musa's journey to Mecca is often regarded as the most extravagant pilgrimage in history. But his voyage was far more than just an expression of grandeur. It was a testament to the power of faith and the political, economic, and cultural influence of Mali at the time. Mansa Musa's journey to Mecca in 1324 was an event of monumental significance. Legend has it that he was accompanied by an entourage of thousands, including soldiers, scholars, and slaves, with camels laden with vast amounts of gold. The sheer scale of the procession made an unforgettable impression on those who witnessed it. It's said that as Mansa Musa passed through cities along the way, such as Cairo, his caravan distributed gold so generously that it caused a temporary inflation of the currency. His immense wealth became legendary, but his pilgrimage was far from a mere display of riches. It was a journey to deepen his faith and strengthen Mali's connection to the broader Muslim world. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage had a lasting impact beyond the spiritual realm. As he journeyed from Mali to Mecca, he established relationships with various Islamic scholars, traders, and religious leaders. His visit to Cairo in particular helped further solidify Mali's prominence on the world stage. It's also said that during his stay in Cairo, he brought back architects and scholars who played a key role in the development of Mali's intellectual and architectural landscape. The wealth he dispensed and the cultural exchanges that took place during his pilgrimage were critical in spreading Islam throughout West Africa. The journey of Mansa Musa was also significant in the way it highlighted the deep integration of Africa into the Islamic world. While many in Europe and the Middle East might have viewed sub-Saharan Africa as distant and peripheral, Mansa Musa's pilgrimage demonstrated the flourishing Islamic civilization that existed across the African continent. His journey was not just a personal act of devotion, but a powerful statement of Mali's prominence and the vital role of African Muslims in the broader Islamic community. In addition to the diplomatic and economic ramifications of his pilgrimage, Mansa Musa's journey also left a spiritual legacy. It is said that after returning to Mali, he continued to promote Islam throughout his empire, constructing mosques, establishing schools, and fostering scholarship. His pilgrimage symbolized not only the grandeur of Mali, but also the spiritual journey of a ruler whose faith and generosity would resonate through the ages. The impact of Mansa Musa's Hajj is a testament to the profound ways in which the pilgrimage shaped the history of Africa and the Muslim world. While the grand desert journeys of African pilgrims are well documented, another remarkable chapter in the history of the Hajj pilgrimage is the maritime path taken by the Swahili traders of East Africa. These traders, hailing from coastal cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar, embarked on sea voyages that connected them to Mecca and the broader Islamic world. Known for their seafaring skills and wealth built from commerce, the Swahili Muslims utilized the Indian Ocean to undertake the Hajj, a journey that was both a spiritual quest and a continuation of their long-established trade networks. The Swahili coast, stretching from Somalia to Mozambique, was a hub of Islamic culture and trade long before European colonization. The Swahili people were adept navigators of the Indian Ocean, with established trade routes that connected Africa to the Middle East and Asia. These maritime links played a key role in bringing Islam to East Africa, and it was through these sea routes that many Swahili Muslims made their pilgrimage to Mecca. For them, the journey was not only an act of religious devotion, but also an opportunity to expand their business ties and acquire knowledge from the broader Islamic world. Unlike the overland treks through the Sahara, the Swahili pilgrim's journey involved crossing treacherous waters, navigating monsoon winds, and dealing with the challenges of piracy and weather. Despite these risks, the Swahili traders were determined to make the pilgrimage, driven by both their faith and the benefits of strengthening their commercial relationships. Their journey began by sailing from the Swahili ports across the Indian Ocean, carrying valuable goods such as ivory, gold, and slaves, which they traded for spices and textiles in Arabia. For them, the Hajj was as much about establishing trade ties as it was about religious devotion. The Swahili pilgrimage to Mecca had profound cultural and intellectual effects. Upon returning from their journey, Swahili traders shared the knowledge they had gained from their interactions with scholars and traders in Mecca. They brought back not just religious teachings, but also ideas on governance, architecture, and science, which contributed to the development of the Swahili city-states. The infusion of Islamic ideas and culture helped shape the region's unique blend of African, Arab, and Persian influences, leaving a lasting impact on the Swahili coast's identity. The maritime path taken by the Swahili traders highlights the interconnectedness of the Islamic world. While much focus is given to African pilgrims who crossed deserts, the Swahili's sea voyage to Mecca demonstrates Africa's central role in the global Muslim community. By linking East Africa to Arabia and beyond, these traders not only fulfilled their spiritual obligations, but also played a vital role in the cultural and intellectual exchanges that enriched the Islamic world. Timbuktu, often referred to as the City of Three was once a renowned center of learning in West Africa, attracting scholars from across the Muslim world. Among these scholars were those who undertook the Hajj pilgrimage, seeing it as an opportunity to deepen their religious knowledge and intellectual pursuits. For the scholars of Timbuktu, the journey to Mecca was more than a spiritual obligation. It was a vital quest to engage with the broader Islamic world and to enhance their understanding of Islam, philosophy, and the sciences. For many Timbuktu scholars, the pilgrimage was a chance to study under the most respected Islamic scholars of the time. The pilgrimage to Mecca not only connected them to the spiritual heart of Islam, but also allowed them to access advanced Islamic scholarship, engage in theological debates, and expand their intellectual horizons. Timbuktu itself had been a thriving intellectual hub, known for its expertise in subjects such as mathematics, astronomy, and law, and its scholars sought to connect their deep knowledge with the broader intellectual traditions of the Muslim world. The journey from Timbuktu to Mecca, however, was no simple feat. Timbuktu, located on the edge of the Sahara Desert, presented scholars with numerous challenges. The long, perilous journey often took months, with travelers crossing vast stretches of desert on foot or by camel. Despite the harsh conditions, Timbuktu's scholars were motivated by a desire to gain religious insight and further their intellectual development. Along the way, they faced extreme heat, scarcity of water, and the constant threat of bandits. But their faith and dedication to learning kept them going. Once in Mecca, the scholars of Timbuktu immersed themselves in the city's spiritual and intellectual life. They attended lectures, participated in religious debates, and exchanged ideas with scholars from across the Muslim world. This exchange of knowledge enriched the scholars of Timbuktu, allowing them to return home with new insights and teachings that would benefit their communities. Their experiences in Mecca helped elevate Timbuktu's reputation as a center of Islamic learning and facilitated the spread of knowledge back to West Africa. The impact of the Timbuktu scholars' pilgrimages was far-reaching. Upon their return, they shared the knowledge they had acquired, contributing to the growth of Timbuktu's scholarly tradition. The city's libraries, containing thousands of manuscripts, became repositories of this wisdom. Through their journeys to Mecca, these scholars helped to ensure that Timbuktu remained at the forefront of Islamic scholarship, influencing not just religious life, but also the intellectual and cultural development of West Africa. Their legacy is a testament to the enduring link between faith and knowledge in the African Islamic world.
The journey to Mecca for African pilgrims often involved crossing the vast and treacherous Sahara Desert, a route that tested their endurance and faith. One of the most iconic aspects of the pilgrimage from sub-Saharan Africa was the use of camel caravans, which served as both a mode of transportation and a lifeline across the barren stretches of desert. These camel caravans were not just a practical solution to a logistical challenge, they became integral to the very identity of the African pilgrimage to Mecca. Traveling across the Sahara was no small feat. The desert, with its harsh climate and vast, seemingly endless dunes, was a formidable obstacle for pilgrims. Caravans, often consisting of hundreds of camels, would travel together to provide protection from the elements and potential threats. The camels, known for their ability to withstand extreme heat and carry heavy loads, were essential to the survival of the caravan. They transported water, food, and supplies, allowing the pilgrims to survive the grueling journey, which could take months. The caravan journey was not only about survival. It was a communal experience that brought together people from diverse regions of Africa. Pilgrims from different cities and cultures would join forces for the journey, creating a melting pot of ideas, traditions, and experiences. As the caravan moved along, the pilgrims shared stories, knowledge, and religious teachings, forming bonds that transcended geographical and cultural boundaries. This exchange of ideas was one of the most profound aspects of the journey, enriching the pilgrims' spiritual and intellectual lives. Along the way, the caravan would stop at various oasis towns, providing the opportunity for pilgrims to rest and resupply before continuing their journey. These stops were often marked by the presence of local guides who knew the desert well and helped ensure the safe passage of the caravans. The guides played a crucial role in navigating the vast expanse of the Sahara, using the stars, landmarks, and ancient knowledge passed down through generations to lead the way. The significance of the camel caravan extends beyond the physical journey to Mecca. They symbolize the strength, resilience, and unity of African Muslims in their shared pursuit of faith. The caravan's journey was a testament to the perseverance and determination of the pilgrims who endured incredible hardship to fulfill their religious duty. Today, while modern transportation has replaced the camel caravans, the legacy of these awe-inspiring journeys remains a profound symbol of devotion, community, and the unwavering spirit of African pilgrims making their way to the holy city of Mecca. The Hajj pilgrimage had profound and lasting effects on Africa, extending far beyond the spiritual journeys of the pilgrims. For centuries, African Muslims who made the pilgrimage to Mecca returned home with new knowledge, ideas, and connections that would shape their societies. The legacy of the African pilgrimage is deeply embedded in the cultural, intellectual, and political transformation of African regions, particularly in the context of West Africa's empires like Mali and Songhai. The return of African pilgrims often brought new Islamic practices, architectural styles, and forms of governance. For instance, upon returning to Mali, Mansa Musa not only showcased the wealth and grandeur of his empire, but also fostered the spread of Islamic scholarship and culture. The influence of Mecca's intellectual environment was evident in the way African courts and mosques adopted new styles of architecture and religious practices, integrating these elements with traditional African structures to create a unique blend of African Islamic culture. Politically, the Hajj was also a tool for reinforcing the power and legitimacy of African rulers. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca in the 14th century is a prime example of how rulers used the journey to showcase their wealth and influence, gaining recognition on the international stage. His caravan's passage through cities like Cairo not only demonstrated Mali's immense wealth, but also solidified the empire's position as a significant power in the Islamic world. This use of the pilgrimage for political prestige was echoed by other African leaders who followed the same path. The intellectual impact of the Hajj pilgrimage was especially evident in cities like Timbuktu, which became a major center of Islamic learning. Scholars who made the pilgrimage returned with religious texts, scientific knowledge, and philosophical works, enriching the educational institutions of Timbuktu. These scholars contributed to the city's reputation as a hub of learning, attracting students and intellectuals from across Africa and the Islamic world. Timbuktu's libraries, containing thousands of manuscripts, became repositories of knowledge that would influence generations. The Hajj also created a sense of unity and connection among African Muslims and the broader Islamic world. The shared experience of pilgrimage fostered bonds of faith and solidarity, linking African Muslims with their counterparts in the Middle East and Asia. This connection extended beyond religion, facilitating trade and intellectual exchange that helped Africa remain integrated into the global Muslim community. Through the Hajj, Africa's role in the wider Islamic world was not only affirmed but also enriched, leaving a legacy of shared knowledge, culture, and faith. The legacy of African pilgrims making the journey to Mecca continues to resonate today, with modern pilgrims upholding the traditions of their ancestors while navigating new challenges. The pilgrimage, though far more accessible now due to advancements in transportation, still carries the same spiritual and cultural weight it did centuries ago. Today, millions of African Muslims continue to make the Hajj, bringing with them the rich history and legacy of those who traveled before them. For many contemporary African pilgrims, the journey to Mecca is a deeply personal and spiritual one, but it is also a continuation of a centuries-old tradition. The pilgrimage remains a time of reflection, unity, and renewal, much like it was for the traders, scholars, and rulers of ancient Africa. Modern pilgrims still face challenges, whether financial, logistical, or physical, but their devotion and faith are no less than those of their forebears who traversed deserts and seas in pursuit of the sacred rites. African pilgrims today also benefit from the global Islamic network that has grown since the days of the Great Caravans and maritime routes. The shared experiences and bonds of faith forged through centuries of pilgrimage continue to unite African Muslims with their counterparts in the Middle East, Asia, and beyond. The stories of African pilgrims, past and present, serve as a reminder of the enduring strength and resilience of faith, of community, and of the shared journey towards spiritual fulfillment. As modern African pilgrims journey to Mecca, they honor the memory of those who faced unimaginable hardships to reach the Holy Land. Their stories are woven into the fabric of the Islamic Ummah, reminding us that the pilgrimage is not just a physical journey but a profound spiritual experience connecting past, present, and future generations. Continuing the legacy. The journey of African pilgrims to Mecca is more than a historical narrative. It is a living tradition that continues to shape the spiritual and cultural identity of African Muslims. The caravans of Mali and the maritime traders of the Swahili coast to the scholars of Timbuktu and today's modern pilgrims, the legacy of these journeys is woven into the very fabric of African history and the global Muslim community. As we look back on these hidden stories, we gain a deeper understanding of the perseverance, faith, and unity that have defined African Muslims' connection to the Hajj. We invite you to like, share, and subscribe to continue exploring the rich and untold histories of Africa's influence on the world. Don't miss out on future explorations into the remarkable stories that shaped our global heritage. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the hidden gems of history and culture.